Welcome to Love Them Tender, where we find the love in big-hearted books, movies, and TV. I'm Alexandra Hidalgo, and I'm so glad you're here. We've been on a Kristen Bell kick over the last year. Started with A Good Place, then Veronica Mars, then Nobody Wants This. And, you watch somebody's work a bunch, and then you start trying to figure out, what is this person's life like? And it turned out she's married to Dax Shepard, who is in the show Parenthood, which I absolutely adore. And I started to look a little bit into their relationship, professional and as a couple. And I realized that they'd made this film together in 2012 called Hit and Run. So we watched it last night. You can get it for $3.99 in pretty much anywhere. It's not streaming for free anywhere, but I strongly recommend it. It is such a fun and giddy and romantic passion project. It's directed and starring and written by Dax Shepard, and then she was one of the co-producers. And he used his own 1967 Lincoln Continental as the car that they run around in, and he did his own stunts. They didn't even have a production company attached to it, so he could drive his own car, and it's a really fun indie movie. We never really know what people's relationships are actually like, much less Hollywood relationships with people that we just watch on screen. But here's a look at these two people collaborating on a passion project that is about love and cars. The gist of it, and what I'm going to argue here, is that they are a couple who are basically perfect for each other, except that their past keeps chasing them, and that past is intent on splitting them up. And it makes for a great fun film with a million cameos and Easter eggs from those of us who like their universes. There's people from all their other projects, and it's a fun watch. So check it out if you haven't seen it, and if you saw it when it came out 14 years ago, check it out again. Hit and Run opens with this very intimate moment. They're in bed, he's on top of her, they're dressed, it's not a sex moment. And we're very close on them, and he's trying to get her to relax. And he says, "This is the only moment you need to be worried about. There's no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. There's just right now." And then he gets her to breathe and to relax. And he tells her, "If you want me to spend every second of the rest of your life with you, I will." And she says, "I want." And it's a very sweet, intimate, fun moment that shows us the relationship these two people have. But in reality, we all know that, as wonderful as that sounds, that there should only be now. There is a yesterday and there is a tomorrow. And the film explores just how much that yesterday in particular is going to affect that tomorrow for them as a couple, for these two people who are so clearly happy together in this moment. The truth is that we don't live just on our beds having these moments together. The world is much bigger, and we do have pasts, and those pasts, as the film shows, will come chasing you in metaphorical and physical form. So the film is a meditation on how to sustain love for Annie and Charley, Kristen Bell, and Dax Shepard, despite the much larger choices that we've made in our life, which will affect the choices we make in the future. It's a fabulous setup, and pretty soon that cocoon of love just gets shattered by both of their paths. The American culture tends to really revere these overachieving intellectuals who make their own path, right? They are not going to play by the rules. They're just going to chart their own way as they use their incredible brains and attend Ivy Leagues and have great careers. It's one of the great American dream stories. But in reality, if you chart your own path too much, you end up not having any peers. And that's what happens to Kristen Bell's Annie. She goes to Stanford and she decides she's going to create her own major for her PhD, and she does it in nonviolent conflict resolution, which is a wonderful thing to be studying. However, she also wants to be an academic, and there are no programs in conflict resolution anywhere. So what that means for her is that she ends up teaching Sociology 101 at this tiny community college because she has no home to really do her work. And I'm an academic, so I'll tell you, if you are at a community college, your job is to teach. It's not to produce scholarship because you're teaching many, many classes. If you work at what we call a Research One university, then your job is to produce research and teach. She is in a situation where she is just teaching classes that are not really her passion, but she's living with the choices she made. But just like her independence is a choice she made, she also made a choice to work really, really hard. And her boss, her name's Debbie, she's played by Kristin Chenoweth. We should see more Kristin Chenoweth in all things, especially playing a diva like this one, just says, look, no, you worked too hard and you're too brilliant to be here. There's a job in LA where they want somebody to start the first and only program in conflict resolution. And if you get to LA by Wednesday, the job is pretty much yours. Now, this sounds like the beginning of a wonderful career for her. The catch, Charley, Dax Shepard, her boyfriend, cannot return to LA because he is in the witness protection program for having witnessed a crime there, and that's the one place in the world he can't go back to. So she is in a situation where she needs to pick between him and her job. And then to make matters worse, he makes the choice for her and he chooses to take her there because he knows rightly that the relationship will never survive her quitting the job of her dreams. And because he can't do that to her, because he is a nice guy who loves her and he wants her to have what she deserves, even if it means that he loses, as he says, the only thing that matters to him in this town, which is her. The choices we make in life, the big ones, often come with side effects, repercussions. And Charley, Dax Shepard, chose to go on the witness protection program, which meant, number one, that he would have to leave LA where he had lived and change his name and basically not work. I didn't know that people in the witness protection program didn't work, but he doesn't. And end up in this tiny, remote little town. That is complicated enough, but it also comes with Randy, Tom Arnold, who is his witness protection program marshal. He is somebody whose job is to check in on Charley, and Randy is a complete hot mess. He is hilarious. When we meet him, he's like spilled coffee on himself and then tried to get the coffee off, and then the van that he was driving kept going, and then he's trying to stop the van, so he starts shooting the van. The van almost kills these two kids, doesn't. This is a comedy. And he's just such a delightful mess of a human being. And by the way, Tom Arnold had just had hernia surgery right before this, and when they got to set, Dax Shepard was like, yeah, we don't have any stunt doubles of your build, so you're gonna have to do your own stunts. You're gonna have to like run after this running van and shoot it. And he was like, I just had surgery. But this is what passion projects are for, small budgets. And the story that Tom Arnold told about it later is that it helped him regain his confidence in himself as somebody who could do these kind of things, despite having had just surgery. But because Randy is such a mess of a person, and because he can't lose this job, he is at the bottom already of the jobs that he can have, and because he loves Charlie. When Charlie goes off to LA, Randy is on his trail. And he's chasing him in this van, and his gun keeps running off, and it's a very funny character and a sort of delightful, hilarious, ridiculous part of the plot. But it also, again, reminds us that this choice that Charlie made to be in the witness protection program is a very serious one that comes with some deep tethers, and that really complicate this decision that he's made. Even just to drive her to LA is a big violation of the commitment he made to himself and to the US government. Our exes are a powerful force, I think, at any age. Your exes from high school have their own sway, first love, hormones, first kiss. But the exes that you've lived with for years of your life, once you're a little older, that's an even more complicated situation because you shared a life together. And in Annie's case, she's got this ex, Gil, played by Michael Rosenbaum, and not only did they live together, but he's still madly in love with her to the point that his computer background is a picture of them together, even though she's been with Charlie for a year. This is the woman he loves, and he's been pining for her for a year, and he's very suspicious of this witness protection guy that she's dating. And as it turned out, rightly so. When he realizes that she's about to go to LA with him, all these alarms go off. So he learns that our dear Charlie is not in fact Charlie. We knew he wasn't Charlie, but his name is Yule Perkins. And he isn't somebody who just witnessed a crime. He was the getaway driver for a bank robbery where somebody was killed. And this, of course, sets off all sorts of protective alarms for him to the point that he too decides to chase him to LA. So now we have Randy, the marshal, and Gail, the incensed lover, right on their trails. And it makes for a very funny comedy to see all these cars chasing each other. But it also, again, reminds us that even somebody like Annie, who is basically a really hardworking, really sweet, really smart, really mature girl, has some things in her past that will come after her. And they will come after her as they try to end this love that she has, which as the movie moves forward, we ourselves begin to wonder whether this love really can work between a Stanford PhD and somebody who lied about his past, which included bank robbing. We all have things in our past lives that complicate our present and that make it difficult for us to have the future we want to have with whoever we want to have that future. That's just part of what it is to be a human being. But there are things and there are things. We have protective ex-boyfriends and overachieving educations like Annie, Kristen Bell is working through. And then we have pasts like Charley's, Dax Shepard, which in this case include not just one bank robbery, but as it turns out, 13. 13 times this man was the getaway driver for bank robberies. And not only are the crimes an issue, but the people that he committed those crimes with were his life. We have Bradley Cooper. He plays Alex, and that was his best friend. And he's the person that shot the guard at the bank on the 13th of their bank robberies. We have Alan, played by Ryan Hansen, who used to be Kristen Bell's roommate because they co-starred in Veronica Mars. He was the Casablancas. And then we have Neve, played by Joy Bryant, who in Parenthood played Dax Shepard's character's wife and mother of his children. In Parenthood, she is a complete kind dream of a human being. Here, she is his ex-fiancée and a ruthless criminal. So suddenly, our dear Charlie is faced with these three people who are really, really mad at him because he's in witness protection because he sent Alex and Alan to jail for 6 months. And he did it to protect Neve. But they're all really, really mad. So the other characters that were chasing them were trying to protect them. But these people, they want to hurt Charlie. And in order to hurt Charlie, they really want to hurt Annie. And here's where the film really revs up the tension. And of course, now you have 4 cars running around, which is funny. But this also makes poor Annie realize that she's been with somebody who lied to her from the start. She fell in love with a person who has a past that makes it impossible for her to believe that the person that she knew is real. Because a person with this kind of past couldn't be the person she's known for the last year. And even if he was, he lied. And she doesn't want to start a life and have children with somebody who lies to her. It's a very funny and fun and ridiculous way of getting at this, but it does universally look at the things in our past that we just can't undo. And is there a way to move forward with them? Our past is something we can't get away from. It's got creepy tentacles that come after us. And when we're in a relationship, we have 2 pasts. We have the past of who we were before we met the person we're currently with. And then we have whatever time we have spent with them, the past of the 2 of us together as a couple. And in the case of Annie and Charley, they're a couple that really works well together. They support each other, they're funny, they can have difficult conversations. They are, as we hope in real life, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell are, and again, we don't know, a good partnership that really are good matches for each other. And as Annie is trying to process learning that this man lied to her, that he robbed 13 banks, that he was engaged to a woman who, by the way, dug her face into the dirt just to mess with her, she is trying to put together whether that violent, complicated past will erase the year that they had together. And as always happens when you're faced with betrayal and lies, you end up having to look back at all the things that you did together and seeing whether that betrayal changes the narrative. She's doing this while they're speeding down highways and being chased and trying to get to interviews in various cars. But at some point, she lands on choosing to believe that what he did in the past doesn't quite erase that person that he was. And at the end, she says, look, I want to be with the guy that I was with for the last year. If he changes some of the ways he speaks, if he gets rid of his stereotypes that he thinks about and stops falling for quick, rich schemes. So it shows us that this whole journey didn't just have him come clean about who he was, but that they're going to keep growing as a couple, because any couple that is together needs to evolve, and they need to evolve for the better if they're going to have a happy relationship. Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, she was saying they do therapy, couples therapy every couple of years, because one has to. You have to keep working on your love. I hope this movie didn't send them to too much therapy, because I thought it was a fantastic look at two people who love each other in real life, exploring love on the screen. And it was fun. So check it out. So I think you'll really enjoy it. Rewatch it if you haven't seen it for a while. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think? Have you seen this film? Did you know about it? What are your thoughts about the ways in which our past can keep chasing us? And what was your favorite car? I'm not a car person, but I did like Lady Lincoln is what he calls his little Lincoln. His real car in real life. Lady Lincoln was pretty great. Please comment, share, subscribe, and like. It makes a huge difference. And thank you so much for watching. Love Them Tender's reluctant cinematographer is my husband, Nathaniel Moeller. Our social media managers are Lana Elsahemi and Anna Radzinski. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, stay big-hearted.